There are some methods that are also available on dictionaries. One of those methods is the keys method. So the keys method will give you all the keys of the dictionary. Okay, so let's comment this out and let's run student.keys. Okay, and then we are going to print that. If we use the keys method, we need to have our parentheses in front of key. Okay, so if we run it now, we're going to have all the keys. So we have name, we have age, we have major, and we have height. Okay, so this is one of the methods we can use with dictionary. We also have values. Values is going to return all the values of that dictionary. So we have 3 we have 17, we have electric engineering, we have 2.1 meters. Right, so it's going to return it in a list like sequence. So it's going to return it in as a dict values. If you are checking for the values, if you are checking for the keys, it's going to return dict keys. Okay, so you have dictionary keys, right? You can also check if a key is present in the dictionary using the in keyword. So it returns true or false as the case may be. Let's say we want to check if name is present in the student dictionary. So we are going to say name. So we have name and then we use the in keyword, then the name of our dictionary, which is students. Okay. So it's going to return true if it is present in the dictionary. If it is not present, it's going to return false. Now let's print this and see what we have. So if we print this now, let's see. Is name present? Yes, true, it is present. So let's check for a property that is not present. Let's check for completion. Okay, completion is not present. If we check for that, it's going to return false. There are a few things you need to take note of when working with dictionaries. One of them is that only immutable data types like strings, numbers, or tuples can be used as dictionary keys. You cannot use list or any other data type that are mutable as key in dictionary. So in your dictionary, you can have a string as the key, you can have a number as the key, you can have a tuple as the key, all those data types that are not immutable. So you can have them as the key, but you cannot have data types that are mutable as the key, like a list. So you can have a list as the key in a dictionary. For example, let's say we have another dictionary here to illustrate that. So let's call this my dictionary again. So I have my dict. Okay, so my dict is equal to, you cannot have a list like as the key of your dictionary. So let's say we have a list of 1 and 2. Okay, so and then we want to have another value. Let's say the value it's let's just call it value. Actually, it's not valid already. So let's print my dict. Okay, we run this program now. So you can see that we have unhashable data type list as the key. Okay, so you cannot use list as the key, but you can use tuple because tuple is immutable. Okay, so if I run this now, so you can see that we can use tuple as key. You can also use numbers, all right? You can use number as key. If I run this now, okay, so you see we can have number as the key. Only immutable data types like string, like numbers, like tuples, those are the ones you can use as keys. Another thing to take note of when you are dealing with dictionary is that keys should always be unique in a dictionary. If you duplicate keys in a dictionary, the last key is going to overwrite the existing ones, all right? So to see that in action here that we have student dictionary, let's say we want to create another name property in the dictionary. Okay, so we have name, right? Whereas name is already existing, let's say name is now John, all right? So if we have John, if we print my dictionary now, or where did we printed? If we printed student dictionary, we don't have any print statement here. Okay, so we can actually change this to students. Okay, so we have students, right? If I run that, so you can see now that name is now John. Whereas we have name as Toyosi and we also have name as John. You can already see that PyCharm is already giving us hints that dictionary contains duplicate keys and the key is name. Okay, so this last one is going to override the initial one. One more important thing that you should take note of when dealing with dictionaries is that from the onset of Python, that is from the early days of Python, dictionaries are not ordered, meaning the order with which you insert the keys are not maintained. The ordering can change at any time, but as from Python version 3.7, dictionaries begin to maintain the insertion order, but then you should not over rely on the order in your workflow because relying on this insertion order is risky, especially if you are working on older versions of Python that is earlier than version 3.7. As you can see now, we are using version 3.13.3, so the insertion order is maintained. If we get rid of this duplicate key now, okay, and I run my program again, okay, so you can see that the insertion order is maintained. But for other versions of Python earlier than 3.7, the order is not maintained. So you should take note of this. You should not over rely on this insertion order because there are times that you may happen to work on Python versions that are older than version 3.7. Okay, so you've learned the basics of dictionary now. In the next lesson, we go deeper into dictionaries, covering nested dictionaries and more advanced operations. So I will see you in the next lesson.